I'm sure many of us have been watching the courtroom drama for the P. Diddy case, and I just have to say Cassie is incredibly strong. She's a lot braver than I could ever have been, sitting in a courtroom while heavily pregnant in her third trimester, about to have a baby anytime soon, facing a man who allegedly abused her physically, emotionally, and even financially. Now, from the outside looking in, it seems like she was groomed and controlled, her career manipulated, and in my opinion, she was used like a high-end escort. Now, sure, maybe she was financially supported by Diddy, but at what cost? I do want to also point out that this jury selection is about 8 men and 4 women. That doesn't sit well with me, as we know that, this case is revolving around a man, and men are usually more heavily biased toward men and their stories that they tell. And then you come out day 2 of this, lawsuit with this high profile entertainer, and you basically say that, you got a young girl here that was expecting a payday out of this and dated a much older man, 17 years her senior. And what man is going to be like, oh, well, I feel bad for her. And she's, they're not. Most men are going to say, well, gold diggers are going to get their, karma for just wanting to gold dig. She probably wanted fame and fortune. So she got exactly what you get when you try to go after somebody with a lot of wealth. But the truth is, many people find themselves in toxic, damaging situations because of one thing, and that usually boils down to money. Also, the allure of wealth, fame, and access to powerful industry figures. That drives a lot of people to sacrifice. They sacrifice their morals, their virtues, their bodies, their boundaries. That's especially true in the music industry, or I would say in the entertainment industry altogether. Many chase the dream of success and they end up getting used and discarded like a piece of trash. We also need to point out the fact that Diddy's family showed up with cameras rolling in that bus that they all showed up on. And, Diddy has 7 kids. His mom, who looks like a 2-bit HOOK. She looks horrible. All right. She was there, and just the illusion that they give is that this family still believes that he's going to get off. They're already recording something. It might be a Netflix deal. I don't know. But, following the trial of Diddy or something like that, they're always looking for a way to make money. These are people that have been in the industry for so long, that I did a story covering who Diddy is and what he came from and what his father did and all the connections that Diddy had. You got to watch that video. I will link it below. He's been in this for so long. In fact, his bodyguards have even said he's been groomed for this type of life. He was groomed to be this depraved. But I believe it's all going to come down to a civil matter. I believe that Diddy's former artists on Bad Boy Records could likely sue him for broken contracts and unkept promises. I mean, Diddy did so many of them wrong that many of them, including members of Danity Kane and many other people, have said he's a ruthless businessman. He's manipulative, he's greedy, he's cunning. And don't even get me into the Tupac Biggie situation, because he's been pulled, his name has been thrown around the Hollywood industry, music industry for so long that people all know that getting involved with him is like getting involved with a mob boss. And knowing that risk, many people still got involved. That people like Jennifer Lopez had to draw close to him in order to bolster her own career. She attached herself to Diddy to get her name out there. And after just one violent night, in a nightclub with a shooting, she was out the door the next day. That's a difference. I think some people recognize danger and they walk away, while others, on the other hand, still believe that if they keep this going, if they keep this charade going, if they keep close by, there may be a possibility that they can, get something out of it. Cassie stayed for years with Diddy, despite clearly having her family. She has a mom. She has her brother. Where were they during all of that horrible stuff that she had to endure? Nice to know that Cassie, she does have her support of her mother, her brother, and her husband there in the courtroom with her. So hearing that, because we have to hear, right? We have to count on the testimony of the people who are coming out of the courtroom, of what they're seeing and the kind of interactions they're seeing. And a lot of people are saying that Cassie showed no real emotion. She just kind of went in there, did what she had to do. She stated the facts. She had to be sworn in, right, under oath. So she's there and she's really trying to take back that power. Confronting somebody like a Diddy, that had that much control over you for so long, must have felt like a huge win for her. She must have felt just extremely elated to be able to tell her side of what she's been through.
I wanted to be around Sean for the same reasons as everyone else at the time. This exciting, fun guy who also happened to have my career. He kissed her on her 21st birthday, introduced her to oral sex, said that she was completely sexually inexperienced. These were the events, the sexual encounters that would take place.
And what she's had to endure. And now knowing that she has to face, watching these videos, like I said, it's going to be even harder. I can't even imagine as this goes on how it's going to get. But the sketch art, like I said, is terrible. You can't even tell who's who. Somebody put this image of Sean Diddy Combs. This is what he really looked like, they said, because obviously, you can't really see him how he looks, but his hair is gray. He's not exactly slender. Somebody said, no, he looks he's healthy. But he does look gray. He does look a little more like his skin has lost some color. Now, while public trials like O.J. Simpson, the Menendez brothers, and even Amber Heard and Johnny Depp weren't federal, you had that ability to see the reactions. Body language experts could chime in, and they could also chime in on some of the emotional responses. To me, as a publicist, that matters because it helps the public understand what's really going on. Now we're left with this secondhand description and dry transcripts, right? Which lack tonality and nuance. Now, they said that Cassie didn't make eye contact with Diddy, which rightfully so. I think actually she did the right thing by not making eye contact. It kind of makes him feel like she has zero interest in even looking at him. He's disgusting to her. She just wanted to come in there and do what she had to do. She gave her basic background. How did you meet Diddy? What were your expectations? I was 19. He made me do this at 21, introduced me to different depraved sex acts, as time went on. And I would have liked to see her as she was talking about this. Was she confident? Was she nervous? Was there any kind of, inflection in her voice that made her seem like she could be lying? I don't know. You know what I'm saying? Was this a woman seeking justice? Absolutely. I believe this was someone reclaiming her narrative out of the bitterness of just years and years of being with this horrific man that didn't give her anything. But we just don't know, and we lose a lot of the visual context. So I'm sure you guys are just as pissed as I am that we don't get cameras in there. Then there's the sexual depravity that's coming out of this. Now, as many of you guys have watched, you see the TikTokers, you see the YouTubers chiming in on this saying, this is depraved. Diddy's gross, golden showers and, peeing in someone's mouth. Like, how is this not disgusting? Of course it is. It's control games. It's third-party involvement. I know people are acting shocked, but if you are an adult and you've bared witness to adult websites, you know that there's even more depraved stuff than this going on. Anyways, the reason I'm saying that is I know people act shocked, but just think of Bonnie Blue and Lily Phillips that have been circulating around the internet, and you know that none of this stuff is shocking, right? I mean, it's not surprising, at least to me. It's twisted, but not surprising. What is shocking is that someone like Diddy would want to watch the woman he's supposedly in love with be degraded by another man. Now, that's not love. That is control. That's psychological dominance. And it's something I think the psychiatrists on YouTube should chime in on, because I don't understand the mental state of why someone would want to do that. Look, if you're treating a woman like trash, like a Bonnie Blue or a Lily Phillips, that's a little different. But someone you claim to love or someone you claim to have an object of affection for, you wouldn't do that. Not as a man. So I believe that he used that little girl, Cassie, like his plaything. But as someone who herself had been around rooms of this, I lived in Hollywood and Sherman Oaks for a while, and I understand that there's secret parties, there's private parties. I've been to white parties, maybe not for Diddy, but you see the exploitation, you see the narrative being pushed that, women are just playthings, and it's usually targeted towards younger women, which is really mind-blowing that, these rich billionaires are going after women as soon as they turn 18. We see this right now with Bill Belichick dating a 24-year-old. It's like They're depraved. You have to understand, these people are so rich. They have so much money. They don't have anything to lose because they can pay people to do the things they want to do behind closed doors. But let's ask the real question. Is it criminal? Because as disturbing as that is, if these are consenting adults after all, then proving criminal charges like trafficking or RICO charges, which is usually reserved for mob bosses and people who are doing organized crime, which is what RICO charges really are, usually geared towards people like cartels and mob bosses and people doing real exploitation. We've never seen anybody. I haven't seen anybody be arrested for child trafficking. We've never seen anyone really go down except for the old Italian mobs, and it's usually people ratting each other out, so I don't know that they have enough evidence. We're going to need more time to know what's going to come from this, because right now this just is playing out like a lover's quarrel, a lover's tryst, or whatever you want to call it, tryst, and just, people, feeling bitter that their life has been thrown away and they've given their life to a person that just used and manipulate them. Here's the thing, as disturbing as this is, if these were consenting adults, then proving criminal charges like trafficking or kidnapping becomes a little more difficult. Now, kidnapping, that's a little more tricky. I think if they can have videos, prosecution can bring forward videos of Diddy like forcing his bodyguards or something to keep people there, or maybe drugging people or something like that, or them saying, I want to leave, or any kind of situation where it seems that they're being held against their will, then yes, the kidnapping could stick. I think that's probably, for me, the only one that's like legitimately, if they have any video footage of this, that would be great. But the government needs solid, undeniable evidence of this. And right now it sounds more like they're just after Diddy's money. Remember, Diddy's a music mogul. He owns a lot of brands. He has a big brand in itself in Bad Boy Records and having many artists under his umbrella. He has Ciroc. He has Sean John. He has so many different things that he's built an empire for himself. Nothing in this case so far, for me, screams life in prison level. Abuse, yes. Manipulation, yes. And as a woman, you guys are probably thinking like, why is she... I'm not siding with Diddy by no means. I believe the man is a disgusting perv and should be locked up. But the government still needs undeniable evidence. Every industry where there's a hierarchical system means that somebody can get pissed off that's a bigger fish than you and they can come for you. I feel like this is bigger than just Cassie. I feel like someone powerful wants Diddy taken down. They see Sean Combs as too powerful, and he's a black man at that. Let's not forget what happened to Bill Cosby. They pissed somebody off. Once you start doing things that they don't like, then it's fair play. They can come for you, And that's what this is feeling like for me. In my opinion, Sean Combs is very confident that he could win this case. I believe that him not taking the plea deal and saying, I want this to go to trial, he believes that he could win this case. And the fact that he has a family, like I said, running cameras in a truck, I believe he's going to be writing a tell-all book before we know it. And that, this coming from a woman might seem like unlikely, but I think he gets out of this. I think that he gets out of this. Maybe he gets something for, like I said, it could be the kidnapping or one of those charges, but it won't be very long. And he's got time served already. So I don't know. It's right now where it's sitting for me. It's messy. It's tragic. It's likely headed toward more civil suits, but not criminal convictions. But I believe that that's what they're coming for. Because if you read the lawsuit, apparently they're coming for his businesses as well. So with that being said, you guys drop your thoughts and comments and tell me what you think about the case so far. And this is only day 2. So have a great day. Think for yourself.